What's that? Okay. All right, Bannock County Commissioners are now in session. Let's go ahead and Emma.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. Emma Iannacone, Public Information Officer. Today, I'm just here to receive and hang a gift from photographer Kyle Riley. He has generously donated a canvas print of the Field of Heroes from 2023, right?
Yes.
From last year. So today I have Kyle joining me, as well as Melissa Hartman and Lillian Molina from the Bannock County Veteran Services Office. So you guys want to come up and join me? This is the picture for the record. And where is the camera? Where is it? All right.
Well, we want to officially accept this gift. It is beautiful. We appreciate the generosity and we appreciate everybody's efforts on the Field of Heroes. That is, touches my heart. I drive by it every day coming to work from Income, and it is just amazing. But this photo with the background and the sunset, I mean, it's totally amazing. So let's go ahead. We'll come over here and we'll put it on the wall. They've actually put some nails in the wall for it. They're all prepared.
Hang right up.
Come on up, John.
I went to. No. And you need to
Okay, we have a somebody in training.
go over there with them. Okay, there. I see.
Okay, here we go. Are we all in it?
Okay, now, okay, autofocus.
Back button's your thumb, and then the button on your finger will take it.
It's not looking very focused.
Oh, Brim.
Yeah, I'm gonna let
I don't know you much.
Okay, let's
She shot cannon before.
All right. I don't know how to use this camera, so.
What's that camera's name?
I just push a button. There you go. Did it work?
Oh, I think so. Hold on. Kyle, leave a smile.
What?
Smile.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Nice. Wow.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, nice.
Hey, not a problem. You're welcome, sir. Yeah.
Thank you for always coming out and filming
Hey,
us.
that's pretty
Looks a whole lot better than that old groomer that used to be up there.
You captured it.
Much nicer.
We're all witnesses, and we pushes the button too. You push the button too? Kyle. Riley. I do like the most like everybody.
All right, looks like the next deal we have up is to read the proclamation. And this is proclamation of National Nutrition Month for the Older Americans Act. Okay? You guys had an opportunity to look at that? Well, let's have a motion on accepting the gift.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd move that we accept the photo as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And then a motion on the proclamation, and then we'll read it.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we accept the proclamation for the National Senior Nutrition Program.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So proclamation reads, whereas since 1972, the National Senior Nutrition Program has assisted funding local agencies, congregate meals, and assist in assuring older adults have opportunities to stay healthy, independent, and connected. And whereas for over 50 years, the Older Americans Act Senior Nutrition Program has provided healthy meals, nutrition screening, education, and counseling that support older adults' well-being. And whereas millions of older Americans face hunger on an annual basis, and whereas every day about 5,000 nutrition program providers serve an estimated 1 million meals to older adults across the country, and whereas the Senior Activity Center is a vital asset to the senior citizens of Bannock County, providing opportunities for activities, nutritious meals, and fellowship. And now, therefore, we, the Bannock County Commissioners, Ernie Moser, Jeff Huff, and John Crowder, do hereby proclaim March 2024 as National Nutrition Month. In witness thereof, we hereby set our hand on this, the 5th day of March in the year 2024. Okay? And we're doing a photo shoot on this one too? Well, we'd invite the members of the...
Senior Activity Board.
These are 3 of the members of the Senior Activity Board.
Okay.
Kathleen, Linda, and Derek.
Let's slide chairs one side and the other.
How are you doing?
Christy, you represent us up there, or over there.
You kind of spread throughout.
Hope.
Yep.
Better
The proclamation.
say why we are here.
Jeff, you have to smile.
Oh,
That's what they told me 10 minutes ago.
Thank you.
all right, thank you very, very much. Christy?
Linda.
Oh, that's your chair. That's funny. I didn't pay attention.
All right, we need to go into Board of Ambulance.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we enter into the Board of Ambulance.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And?
Mr. Clauser, Comptroller, Chief O'Hearn couldn't be here, so he asked that we present, and Nancy can tag in if I miss something. The commission already gave the ambulance district the permission to write the application. This is permission to submit the application on the American Firefighters Grant, or Assistant to Firefighters Grant. This grant requires a match of 10%, which is about $9,270. That will be in FY25. This is a federal grant. It'll require procurement, and the entity will be required to have a UEI number because this is a federal grant, over $50,000. So we just need permission to apply. It will purchase ventilators that will be put in the ambulances.
Okay. Comments, questions?
And so, per your, just to make sure I heard you correctly, we will, since this is going to be an FY25 during the budget process, we'll have to make sure and budget for this. And the award date on this is in September, is that correct?
Generally the end of September, sometime
Okay.
before then.
Okay. All right. I'm all right with that then.
John? Comments?
No.
Okay. Motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the submission for the Department of Homeland Security grant for the assistance to firefighters.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 Do we need to authorize any electronic signatures or submission?
They did.
I believe this one's electronic.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to amend that and authorize electronic submission if necessary.
We have an amended motion, all in favor say aye. That was just me.
Aye.
Aye. And we need a motion to go back into the board.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we enter into, or exit the Board of Ambulance.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adam?
Morning. Adam McKinney, 911 Communications this morning. This morning I'm seeking a signature on the Iron Master Services Agreement. We had brought this to legal a few months ago. This is going to be a new connection that's going to augment and replace quite a few connections for us. This is our first connection into the iron system. Legal was concerned when I brought it to him a few months ago that we didn't have a funding mechanism going forward should there be no funds. Originally, Bingham County had applied for a grant to get this service put in for Bingham County to have the new 911 service master and host that we're working on with them. So legal was concerned that we might be on the hook for it, Bannock County, should Bingham County not pay for it. But unbeknownst to me, and I had to go back and do a little research, we were actually included in this grant as well. Bannock County was included in this grant from the IPSCC, and this master services agreement is paid for in full for 2 years completely on that grant. And then in addition, we can grant that request to the IPSCC to have ongoing networking fees paid for with this. And in addition, I was able to get Iron to put the non-appropriations clauses that legal wanted into the overall master services agreement. So legal's looked at it, they said they still would like not to have it arbitrated in Ada County and rather over here, but other than that, they were good with the new wording. So this basically allows for us to get Iron plumbed into Pocatello Police Department, and it's again paid for by the IPSCC completely for 2 years. So, and I plan to just renew that grant in 2-year cycles. So we'll just do that ongoing. The possibilities for this connection, this is a 10 gigabit connection from the state network. The possibilities above and beyond 911 is that we may also be able to replace some of our commodity internet with it going forward. So again, this is a big connection to the statewide network for us, and it's our first one. I'd like to move everything onto this network eventually if it works out. So.
And potentially, if we can move everything onto this ends up being a pretty good cost savings for our monthly internet bill. Correct?
Absolutely. It's 10 times, this is a pipe that's got 10 times the bandwidth of our current internet connection. And if we're able to move all of the commodity internet onto that, for the county in general, we'll be able to eliminate the ongoing costs that we currently have with DirectCom. Again, I don't know what timeline that'll be. I'd love to see it happen before next budget cycle, but it might be one more cycle before they do that. In any case, because we'll be utilizing this to connect to the statewide system and to provide 911 services for the outside counties, we'll be able to continue to get the grants to pay for it through IPSCC going forward. So.
What is the cost for this? If there was no grant, what would it cost?
It would be $27.50 per month is the ongoing cost on it if we were not to get grant funding for it.
And these other components that you want to hope to move there, how much does that cost?
Currently, we pay nearly $3,600 a quarter for our commodity internet, and then every one of the links that we have that connect, the outside counties that connect into us pay their hosting fees for networking. So total is around $6,000 a month, but those are not our fees. Those are paid for by the counties that connect to us.
But if we were to move it there, all those costs would be saved, and we would just be paying this $27.50.
What I'd like to do is, if we can get every county that connects to us to move from their commodity connections now to the Iron network, they would actually be able to get those connections paid for by IPSCC ongoing, so that would eliminate costs for those counties as well. Ours would be that $27.50 a month. It's currently paid for 2 years here. We'll be able to renew that grant with IPSCC in the FY26 grant cycle, but if we didn't, it would be $27.50 a month for us.
Okay.
Yep.
And the Iron network has the same security and uptime as the commercial thing that we're using?
This will be the first that we've used, Bannock County has used the Iron network. I used it at the University of Idaho. It's a very nice, very well-supported network. It's actually delivered on the same fiber providers that we're currently already using, mostly Syringa primarily. But they also, because of economy of scale, they buy bandwidth in chunks, so they've got connections into Lumen, they've got connections into direct communications, so we're not going to need to have any additional equipment put in. It comes in over the same provider. It's actually more robust, more secure, because no one but the state is on this Iron system. This is a state subsidized network. There are no agencies besides municipalities, counties, state agencies, education, ISU uses it, and the state. There is no commodity traffic on this network whatsoever. It's only state of Idaho traffic.
Further comments? Motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the master services agreement with the Iron network.
A motion, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Braden.
All right, Braden Clayson, Chief of Staff. Before you today, I have a fee schedule that we'd like to get established moving forward with for the Forensic Pathology Project for autopsies, toxicology, histology. We are, for the rest of this fiscal year, is following Ada County's autopsy rates. That full autopsy comes in $2,300 a piece. Partial autopsies be $1,670. Decedent inspections would be $1,320. Toxicology, $250 for a base panel. Those are very personalized and can be more than that, but we wanted to get this moving forward so that when we bring locums in, we're operating under state statute.
And so the request right now, though, is basically to have a public hearing.
Correct.
To
Yep.
discuss these fees.
Get a public
So
hearing
that-
on the books. Yep.
Okay.
We're looking for March 21st to have the public hearing. 11 a.m.
So if we were going to notice this, it would list these specific fees on the public notice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Comments?
Yeah, I have a few comments. So looking at the costs here, my understanding is that we are currently contracted with Portneuf at $95 per autopsy. And the contract with locums is $6,500 per day for the doctor.
I'd have to look at the exact amount, but that sounds right.
Then we're also paying a consultant, I think $4,500 a month. Is that right? And do you have any idea what the consumables cost is every time we do an autopsy?
I'd have to look into it for you, but I'm sure I could figure that out.
Do you have kind of a
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Okay. And do we know, in our contract with locums, I looked at the contract, and I don't see that we have a provision in there except on a case-by-case basis for when a doctor is called to testify. We really don't know what that cost is going to be based on what the contract says. It's to be negotiated on a case-by-case basis.
I'm pretty sure we came up to, it's $500 an hour for up to 4 hours, and then it's the same fee we've got listed in here, that's $250 beyond the 4 hours an hour.
Do we have an agreement beyond that contract with locums? A written agreement?
I want to say it's in the contract with the locums as well.
Well, I
But
looked at it, and I didn't see it.
Then I guess not. I'd have to look at it and answer that specific question later once I'm more familiar with it. I just don't know how to answer that right now, but I believe it's the $500 hourly for up to 4 hours.
The discussion we had originally was that we was putting the same agreement that we had with Ada County.
And question for Christy, do you happen to know, have you seen anything about how much that cost would be we were just talking about?
I would not know any more than what Braden or Commissioner Huff would know, other than looking at the contracts.
Okay, and then let's say that we have, I understand you guys just did a couple autopsies right there. You did 2, I think? And let's say that someone has an autopsy scheduled. I have the doctor who's been committed to come to this thing, and then one of the counties that's supposed to bring an autopsy cancels for whatever reason. Do we have a provision? I mean, I didn't see one, so I'm asking, is there some provision for cancellation? I didn't notice any provision in any of these contracts to cancel, to get a payment if someone cancels, and I would assume we're still on the hook for locums once that guy starts traveling.
We would be for 2 days, yeah.
Yeah, for 2 days? Is that a 2-day minimum?
No, I think we went 2 days in case the number of autopsies piles up.
Yeah.
But I think we're at, yeah, it'd be about 10,000 for the 2 days.
$10,000. So is that the minimum every time? When we just did these last.
It's $5,000 a day, I believe, is the minimum, isn't it, Jeff?
I thought it was 6.
It might be 6, but I thought it was 5 minimum. Where were we at?
And I thought,
Yeah, so $6,500 per day of service.
$6,500 per day, and we're on the hook for 2 days every time we do this?
Yes.
I mean, we can change it, but right now that's what we're scheduled at.
So this one you just did with the two,
Mhm.
that actually cost us $13,000?
Correct.
Just for them, not including all these other costs I mentioned?
Correct.
Right. So I ask all that just to get on the record that we are already, as we start this, in the business of subsidizing other counties' autopsies.
I would like to respond to that, if I may, because
Yep.
the funds that we are using are not Bannock County funds. They are the funds that were given to us by the state to stand this program up and to see how it works. So this is a state-sponsored test at this point in time. So we are not using Bannock County taxpayer funds for this,
But it's money they gave us, and we're just using it
for this specific
Yeah,
purpose.
so it is state funds at the moment.
For this specific.
But I'm
purpose.
wondering, well, what's gonna change? If Bannock County is paying for all this stuff, why would we expect that our costs are gonna be any less? I mean, right now, here's what we've done, this is the cost we've had, and it looks like we're setting ourselves up to be subsidizing other counties' autopsies.
That is not the direction we're traveling. And again, it is my commitment to the county that Bannock County not subsidize this. And so if we get to that point where the counties don't come in like they're, have shown us support at this point in time, we'll have to shut her down. Because I am fully committed to not subsidizing this with Bannock County funds.
All right, well, at this point, I'd say I would have to oppose setting up any fee schedule. You know, I've been opposed for months now, for a year, actually, to even getting into the autopsy business, so that's still where I am.
And actually, just for the record, what we're talking about here today, these fees would be discussed in a public hearing. We're not setting these fees today.
Right.
This is just, we have to have a public hearing so that everybody has the opportunity to voice
Right,
their
and
concern.
what I'm saying is I would not want a notice put out with these fees, because it looks like we're setting ourselves up for, if we approve these fees after the public hearing, we're setting ourselves up to subsidize autopsies.
And do you publish these fees right now?
We would publish them within the next
Or we
week.
would have a discussion about these fees
No, they would
at the
publish
public
it. This
hearing?
would be published in the public
They'll
notice.
publish, then it'd be the public.
And that's
hearing.
what I'm wanting to avoid.
Because they could be changed during the public hearing.
Then they would have to
They
republish.
would have to go
Yeah.
down. You cannot go higher.
Cannot go
You can
higher,
only go
they
down.
have to go, okay. All right,
Well, these fees are only for this fiscal year and while we have the state funds to test the model. So I'm good with it.
okay. So,
Mr. Chair, I would move that we post these fees as presented.
we have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay. So that just means that we'll have a public hearing on March
21st.
21st. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about human resources. Come on up, Josh.
Can Alicia come up? Are you good if Alicia comes up too?
Yeah. All right, so we've had some things happen within the county. And so we are looking at roles and responsibilities for a little bit while we put out and ask for applications for a director of our HR department. Appreciate everybody's willingness to help and work. I've asked Braden to actually step in and kind of oversee what's going on, but you are the players that are in the middle of all of it. What do you see that we need to do? What are you willing to do? And how do we, I'm saying that we're gonna be a couple of months before we get somebody in this position. So I'm actually asking, what do we need? What direction do we need to go, and what are you willing to do?
Put your names on the record.
Oh, okay. Josh Waters, Human Resource Professional.
Alicia Jensen, Senior Payroll Tech.
So, if I may,
Go ahead.
So far, I've had an increase in calls, visits, stuff like that, but nothing that's really major. Human resources, needs of employees, it's kind of hard to forecast exactly when things are going to hit. But as of right now, everything's fine on my end. Experiences in human resources that I have, I've pretty much done a little bit of everything except for compensation wise. That's the one thing I wouldn't be able to help out too much with. So, and happy to help out Braden in any way that he needs. Whatever you need.
I think currently Josh has been doing a really good job with all the day-to-day things, the FMLA stuff, any sort of benefits questions, things, just kind of the day-to-day operations. He's done a really good job with. He's shared a lot of the, workman's comp claims that we've had, the SIF, things of that nature. I've worked really well with Christy in getting all of our eye crimp stuff up to date. We've paid the second part of our deductible with them. What did we do? We worked with getting our resubmitting to Gem Plan and getting all that stuff in order, or all their items in order last week.
Right. For our new premium information.
So benefits wise, I think having payroll and Christie's team assist us with that, where that's where Josh feels that he doesn't have a lot of experience. We're going to lean kind of heavily on them, and Christy and I have talked quite a bit about that. One of the other things that I wanted to discuss was I left a copy of the job description for you last week. Did you all three have a chance to review that? I think that
there was a couple of minor things that you guys were talking about.
Right. So.
And I forgot to bring mine up.
Right. So there.
Today.
I have mine. Christy actually took these notes on here, and when she brought me a copy, and so there's just a couple of things. Let's see here. Job description. That we just need to clarify who's doing what. Pass that over to Christy because she left that in my office.
One thing, if clarification, this is just for our human resources director. So what are we doing with the risk management side?
And that's a discussion that we wanted to have and see where we actually want that to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no funding for a new position mid-year unless that's established. So if that's going to be an option, then, and I'm not sure what even that pay would be for that position.
And that's something that I was thinking about too, is if we take that out of this position, then what is the salary rate for this position? By taking that out, does it change? Does that? We haven't had any of those discussions, and so that's why this meeting, we need to talk about these things and kind of see where we want to go, because it does come down to funds and then how much does this position pay if we do take some of the responsibilities out.
Well, in conversations with John, I agree that we probably want risk management outside of the human resource manager position. So I think in the short term, we can limp along without that for now, and then in budget time, have a further discussion about a risk management position and funding that or not, or how we go forward from there. But at this point in time, I think we take risk management out of that. John, would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
And then just have Braden pick it up?
At this point in time, or maybe there's an attorney that can look at it, I don't know.
Well, we just got over a big case. No.
Well, I mean, some of the risk management, from my understanding, was, just when we have accidents with county vehicles and paying those invoices, those kinds of things. I know it can get a lot deeper than that, but I guess we need to define what those roles would be, and then, because I don't know that we need an attorney to do that. But there is probably higher level stuff that maybe we do.
Right. And I was kind of tracking with you. It was just, should we get into an accident or have a claim? That's what risk management would handle at this point in time, and then.
So I mean, if it's okay, I could continue to do the day-to-day risk management stuff, because that's pretty much what part of my responsibility. And then we could look at, getting some kind of manager later if we needed to.
Well, a lot of it is just automobile claims, things of that nature, so, I mean, I think they're all things that Josh is capable of taking care of now as we're limping along, and then that'll give you guys, the board, all time to discuss how you want to move forward with it as, yeah, put together a job description and see how you want to proceed that way.
Maybe, Jason, can you reach out to any of your other counties and see if anybody has a risk management position dedicated?
Yep.
And then that can help with the job description.
Perfect.
Back to the Human Resources Director position, if we could clarify the salary, we need to keep that position on the scale, so we can't just round it to a dollar amount. It needs to be at a specific spot. So 16 minimum would be $70,887. And then
What is it currently?
This
Here's
just
the
says
16.
71,000.
Yeah, I think it was at a 16.1, but
Yeah.
16 minimum
I
is
just,
70
when we
now.
post it, I just want to make sure it's at one of our.
And I just threw a number in
I
there
know.
because I didn't know.
That's why I'm just helping.
I can't make that decision.
What's the range on that 16?
Right now, it's at a minimum of 16.
Right, what's the top end of that?
Off the top of my head, I want to say it was like 78,000.
$81.
81?
Make sure to follow with that across rate. 81.5. But I think regardless of a position, we wouldn't want to start at the max just simply because there's learning curves. But you can put a range for what you want to hire. And of course, that would just be my recommendation, but you guys can choose to do whatever you want. You can pay it $100,000 if you choose.
What's the minimum in that range?
70,886
So it goes 70 to 81?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the current scale.
Yeah, okay.
The only thing I would ask is in the primary function, if you could put just a sentence that says, department works in close coordination with auditing and payroll, just so that they know that expectation is there. I'm not sure what the Civil Service Commission is.
We'll just line through that.
Possibly, yeah. Or Google it. I forgot to Google it. There's a line that says oversees the county's compensation programs and systems. I didn't know if that included the money side, because right now the money side is done in our office.
Right.
But I might be overthinking that.
We can clarify that.
Okay. Down here it talks about on the last, be involved with all departments in aspects of labor relations and development.
Have you received
I don't know if
any
that's union
salary
stuff.
feedback from the other counties?
It might be fine.
I have a spreadsheet
I
that
would,
I'm working on.
yeah, we
But
can take
She's
that
done
out.
it.
That's no,
Do you
no
have a
problem.
general idea for the HR director position?
What's that?
Yeah.
The last thing is, under acceptable experience and training, I think it might be helpful to have supervisor experience. If they're going to be assisting with supervisors, having some experience, would, I think, be invaluable. And then on behavioral skills, conflict resolution. Maybe add that in there.
Okay.
You're gonna let me keep this. This is Jason's. He's gonna come for me. Thank you. This is now mine, just for the record. Thank you, guys.
Okay. You're being awful quiet.
Payroll is just here to help wherever we can. One of the easier things that I thought is more time consuming but less, I guess, risky to hand over would be to send vendors their benefit information. I know that Josh spends quite a bit of time. I know that Leedy likes all of her enrollment papers sent separately with everybody listed in an email specifically. So I thought if that's something that we could take off of your hands to free up some time, you know, if things become stressful or overwhelming, we're totally happy to do that.
We can just, I guess, is if you get busy doing one thing or another, just holler at us and say, hey, can you do this part?
Yeah.
So if you have a really big enrollment or orientation, then maybe you could just say, hey, can you guys do this? I'm trying to organize all this. So we can do it as needed basis.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we're getting shuffled of papers timely.
Well, I want to just compliment on yesterday. Yesterday, we had an orientation, and there wasn't a salary rate approval form in that orientation, and the gal had gone to work. And Josh found that out when he was doing the orientation, and he called, and we had a little conversation, and I went down and got Christie, and we come up with a solution, and give that department an option of either sending the person home, or you have a salary rate approval form to us within an hour. And they had that to us within an hour. So thank you. I mean, that's what I see, because I'll tell you, we don't understand all that you guys do. And just them little phone calls and those cooperations and going down the hall for a minute and saying, hey, how do we help each other? Thank you so very, very much. When I got back from being up in the courts, I think Christie says, well, we already got our salary rate approval form. I mean, they had it there and it was good. So that's what we need to always have happening. But thank you as we go through this and get this. I want to get this job description out there and get it posted as soon as possible.
So with these edits, we have permission to post?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's
Everybody in agreement with that?
I think the biggest thing would just be coming up with that final number in the pay grade.
Can I say something? So, of course, you know, it's up to you guys what you want to pay, but I do want to say that I've kind of been looking at the HR professionals in the area, and most HR positions are up in Idaho Falls, and I kind of don't think we'd get much draw from Idaho Falls. Looking at the ones in the area, most of them have been in their companies for a while. $70,000 is really low for an HR manager, director level position. And how should I put this? As a former manager at Walmart, I came to realize you get what you pay for, so to speak. So at $70,000, you're gonna get what you pay for, if you get what I'm saying.
Are you looking private sector or public?
Everything.
Because public, you need to take into account, we have a lot more benefits than you do in private, and health insurance is a heck of a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
We did get the salary information
Yeah,
from the
Jason.
nurse that
I'm
we
looking it
talked
up right
about.
now.
Looking up right now.
I'll have the others in just a second here.
And
I think those would be definite comparables. We did have, a lot of that information was pre-buried through the, Twin Falls. Well, Alicia put it together. Twin Falls seemed to be a little bit higher, right? Bingham surprisingly was not.
Yeah, it was kind of different. Some areas were really similar, and then there were other areas that were either quite a bit higher and quite a bit lower. It was a little bit difficult just because we're such different sizes, and so there, in some counties, there was just no comparable position, and their departments are set up a little bit different, but I felt like we were pretty middle ground in a lot of it.
And I have compared benefits and salaries for private, public, you know, all that fun stuff. I am aware that our benefits are much better, especially like, I did a benefits class with Tanner Morton. He used to be an intern here, and he asked me to present on benefits because he's teaching at ISU. And one of the things I compared was our county to the city of Pocatello. We're much, much better, thankfully, benefits-wise. It's just, I know the first thing HR people are going to look at is going to be compensation.
So we, Madison doesn't have a direct correlation position for an HR director at all.
Okay.
But Twin Falls, their HR director is at 107,000. Bonneville County is 98,000. And Bingham County is at 79,000.
What does Madison do?
I'll have to ask Kim. I don't know.
But if you're going to look at those salaries, then
We have to make sure that it's apples to apples.
yeah.
I know that just the amount of contribution in for the benefits varies greatly between counties. It could be hundreds of dollars a month different.
If you opted to do a Well, and also this position's not doing risk management anymore, if you do
Yeah.
choose to take that out. But if you do a grade 17, that's $77,000, starting. So if
What's
you
the
wanna
high
check
end
out-
of that?
88, almost 89. We will have to look at funding depending on what you choose to post the position
And
at.
talking about that, that brings up another concern, and I sent you 2 copies yesterday with public defense and the payout and buyout on them. We're looking at 300,000.
I'll set up a meeting next Thursday on
So,
that.
I mean, just as we're talking about having to find monies and compensations, we have other pools that I'm very afraid of right now.
300,000 was that public defender?
Yeah, to pay out their vacation and stuff.
Yeah, I saw your email.
So it just has me a little concerned as we're talking about all these different positions, and we don't have a rainy day fund. So I think that on that one, we need to have some contact with our legislature and let them know that this is a pretty big hit.
And
on us.
on this one, I mean, you could post it, you could try and post it at the minimum 16, and if you get nothing in a week, repost it. There's nothing lost other than a week's time, which, as long as things are being covered, you don't want to lose good candidates either. But I'm just trying to think from the financial side, we don't have a whole lot of money floating around.
I
So,
think too,
But you
maybe
can find it.
that part of the comparison between different counties is we should look at their job description and what their roles are specifically do. Because when we were working with the city of Rexburg, which I know they're a little bit different, their HR department does all of the data entry. So as far as when they do all the enrollments, they're responsible for everything entered. And the payroll department takes whatever they have entered and just runs the payroll. They don't do any of the data entry, they don't do any of the benefit side, they don't answer any questions about those things. So I think that that's where maybe some of the difference in the monies is that their departments have the responsibility of everything basically, and the payroll person just runs the payroll numbers and doesn't do any of the data entry, where we're opposite. So I don't know if that fits into
you could also post a 16, up to a 16 mid, which would be just under $76,000, and have that discretion to put within there. And then as we're working on the compensation, it can be reassessed if we need to make a change, but that would give you some flexibility to go between 70 and 75 if you get a good candidate.
And that's,
If you open it up to that, though, somebody's going to come in and say, I want 75.
yeah.
So,
I'm inclined to just post it at, as you currently said, post it at the 16, like you have. We have nothing to lose by trying that and seeing what happens.
you can always throw a DOE on the end, too.
I mean, assuming we post it now at all.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, maybe we don't post it yet.
So what's your thoughts there?
Well, we have someone filling in. Things seem to be running okay at the moment. Doesn't sound like there's a great urgency to get this filled immediately, because things seem to be going all right at the moment. And I'm concerned about this thing that Commissioner Moser brought up about the, the public defender. That's going to be a big hit that right now we have no way to take care of.
Well, Braden, let's get these changes made.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and let's get the job description from Twin Falls. And let's get the job description from Bingham. Do you just have the salary on them, or do you have the job description?
No, just the salaries.
Could you reach out to all the clerks
Yep.
and see if we can get all the counties to respond. And then that would be a bigger net to see what dollar amount maybe we should be at. We can't compare to Pocatello. That's not realistic.
No, but
But we could get maybe some more counties that might give us more information.
But let's put this on the agenda again for next Tuesday. I mean, that's 1 week. But I have an urgency, because I appreciate everybody stepping up and stuff, but also I know that everybody's got their own duties and responsibilities too. And so I want to respect your office and the things that are going on. But, so I have an urgency that I'd like to get this moving forward, but let's get that information, and then, Jason, if you contact those clerks and work with Braden a little bit to kind of come up with a comparison, and so we have something to act on. Jeff?
John's idea is intriguing, but at the same time, I wonder what's the benefit of limping along? But I understand the concern with the funding with the other one, so I think that's worth taking a little bit of time to look at and see, because I also think our pay grade needs to be higher than 76. I agree with Josh. I don't think we're gonna get the type of candidate we need at the price range that we're considering. So if we have to hold off for a couple months till we find out what we're gonna do with that payout, we get a little closer to budget time, have us time to look at our pay scale that we're working on.
It's going to take us, because of the agreement we made when our employee left,
Right.
we got a couple of months before we can actually hire somebody, in my opinion, because we already committed those funds.
Yeah, another thing I would add is, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to look at process by process that's associated with this job, and how many of those could be absorbed by other individuals, and then, maybe reevaluate this whole thing. I mean, I'm curious to know why Madison County doesn't even have an HR director.
Yeah. Which
I'll reach out to Kim.
I find that intriguing as well, because I don't know of an organization out there that doesn't do something like that, so that's interesting.
I think that Kim, who is the clerk, acts as their HR director in Madison County.
That happens in a lot of counties.
Ta-da!
A lot of counties. So let me just ask about, you said a lot of counties, the HR director is the clerk?
Mm-hmm. In the smaller ones.
In the smaller ones, yeah.
But that's the only
So you could be the king
full-time,
of the clerks if you were in a big.
but that's the only
county.
full-time employee they actually have, basically, out of the elected.
We can't.
The others are kind of,
It's probably a 50-50. There's a lot of them that either run it or are it. So.
okay.
Break you in, Jason.
We know how much you like doing HR stuff.
Yep.
Well, he's had a little experience since I've been here. All right.
Well, then, just to summarize, just make sure I'm on the same page. We'll make the edits, hold off on posting it for now, or we are going to post it.
Let me tell at least next Tuesday when we put it on the agenda again and have some of these information so that we have a little better detail.
Okay.
I'd like to do that myself. And then just a big thank you to everybody for see what decisions we come up with, conclusions. All right? Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have resolutions. Resolution 2024-17, authorizing the destruction of sheriff files. Resolution number 2026-18, designating county roads for state reimbursements. Resolution number 2024-19, approving tax cancellation request. And resolution number 2024-20, approving February 2024 salaries.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve resolutions 2024-17, 18, 19, and 20.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, under letters or signature only, from the assessor's office, we have tax cancellations, and BTA decision, and placed on occupancy roll in air.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we accept or approve the assessor's request for the tax cancellation.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, under the consent agenda, we have liquor license, we have salary rate approval forms, and we have minutes from February 27th and 29th.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You need a pen?
Good suggestion.
Oh, sorry, Ernie.
You're good. With that being said, we'll be at recess